Hello, hello. Good evening, James. So this is, I think we are 5th year now into BBD, and
Wow.
this is
What a journey.
I know, this is the annual meetup. And
I
yeah,
love it.
I was literally counting back, thinking, when did I join BBD? And I think it was your first official launch in summer of 2016.
2016.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, and I've been a faithful follower ever since.
Mm,
And yeah, it's been amazing to watch your journey and the growth of business by design and your evolution. And I think that's what I wanted to talk about today, the evolution of an online business. Um, and I kind of thought up the title of, from idea to $1 million. So something I remember you saying, I can't remember when, maybe a couple of years ago, I think it was around the question of manifesting lots of money or the lottery or something. And you said, I don't even remember this, you said, actually, if you are willing to invest 4 to 5 years of your life in your business and its growth, you can have a lottery winner's lifestyle. Do you remember saying something to that effect?
no. No, I don't.
Maybe I dreamt it and made it up.
But no, I'm sure it's something I said, and it's absolutely true. And I think, buying a lottery ticket is investing $1 in 2 minutes of your life. And that doesn't take much of us. That's why people are more likely to play the lotto than to invest in a business. And it is a risk, and it's a sacrifice. And it's putting faith and trust in something. But you know what? Fearing something is doing the same thing. There's the things that you fear, and then there's the things that you want, and both require faith. And so life is choice. It's full of choices. And yeah, we all have choices that we've made that we regret. Oh, I made the wrong choice. But all of that's in the past anyways. So today, in this moment, and even right now, you can always choose again. There's a new choice that you can make. And it's a choice to say, am I going to continue to put my faith in the thing that I fear? Or can I put faith in the thing that I crave, that I want, that I've been waiting for my whole life? And I think something I had going for me was my stubbornness. I was so stubborn that I got so committed to doing whatever it took. There was no going back. Entrepreneurship is a path, right? So we're on a different path the moment we say, I want to build my own business, do my own thing, become an entrepreneur. That is a path that most never walk and don't want to walk. That's why I love that quote. Entrepreneurship is doing what others won't so that you can do, and experience what others can't. And what I got clear on a long time ago is that when you walk this path of entrepreneurship, the path of race is behind you. There's no going back. And so you just keep going, and you're either going to have the faith in where you're going or put your faith in the things that you fear. And it may take a couple years. It may not. And you just have to ask yourself, is that the investment that I'm willing to make in my future? For me, it always is. And here's why. Who I am today, who you are today, we've grown so much that the version that I am today is not the version I was when I started. And I think that's what it's all about anyways, is our own personal growth and evolution. This is why we say that the business that we're in, the personal brand, all of it is personal growth on steroids, really.
It really is.
And I think when you look at it that way, your destination becomes the doing. Like, instead of saying, oh, once I have that money, then everything will be great and I can be happy and blah, 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 blah. We get to sit there and say, wait, what if I'm just doing it today? I'm showing up today. I'm serving today. I'm teaching. I'm creating. I'm in it. And that's the destination. And if you make that the destination, then you're happy now. You're fulfilled now. You're exactly where you are, and that's where you are, and where you are is perfect. and nothing needs to be changed or fixed about that. And when I did that for me in my life, I noticed a lot of things ended up ironically changing and growing, because I wasn't waiting to get somewhere or win a lottery. I was making where I was now the destination. And that changed everything for me. Anyways, you asked a very simple question and then I just go off on a tangent.
Do you know, and I love this, and I've noticed this with all the previous interviews we've done in the past, that when I go back and listen a second time, it's like, oh, I didn't get that the first time, or I didn't hear it. So I encourage anyone who's listening right now, do go back and listen to this a second time, because
Yeah.
it will sit differently.
Well, that's because you're a different person. You've already grown.
Yeah.
Because we're not even the same person we were yesterday.
No.
You know, we're constantly growing. And the brain craves familiarity, right? So there's a part of us, we call it the ego, that's like always trying to hold on to who we were. And then there's like the higher part of you that's always like who you're becoming. And it's up to us if we're going to let go and move towards who we're becoming, or try to hold on to who we were. But this is why you've heard me say, since you joined BBD, what got you here won't get you there.
Yeah.
And we have to let go of who we were. You know, the old you has to die a hard death, and it can be really painful to step into who you're becoming.
And yeah, just before we went live, I was thinking, you know, when was it I joined BBD? And it was the first launch in the summer of 2016.
Summer of 2016.
It was, 5 years now. And of course, I've changed and grown so much. And I think that with Business by Design, yes, you know, you go into it thinking it's a business course, but having known you and grown with you, oh my gosh, you're like, it's been a journey. It's been a journey. And, you know, I joined Next Level. I've been to the countless BBD live events, and hopefully I can come back again one day.
One day it'll happen.
Yeah. And it's been watching your growth, your evolution, the community, the program. It's incredible. And I think of all the business investments I've ever made, this is kind of the one that I've stuck with, dipped in and out of, but it's always been there as a constant, because it's always growing. And the mindset tools, and, you know, these kind of truth bombs that come and just like, what did James just say there? You know, but I think
screw this guy.
Yeah, it's as you say, personal development, personal growth on steroids.
Oh, yeah.
So I guess this leads me to kind of the mindset of an entrepreneur, because so many people are in it for, you know, a quick buck. They say, I can make money on the internet. I can make millions of dollars online, but then it doesn't happen straight away, you know. And people give up, and that's it. They've dabbled their toes in the online entrepreneurial world and they've given up. You know, what do you think the biggest mistakes that you see online business owners making?
Well, yeah, there's a lot there. Obviously, thinking that this is some get rich quick opportunity thing is a big mistake. And here's why. The model we teach, the model that Melanie and I both run our business from, is the model of information products, digital products, selling our expertise, our knowledge, our information. I remember we've talked about this on previous calls, but your first launch, like within the first week of joining, and you made your money back. That wasn't a get rich quick thing that you did, you know. But that model of selling digital products is hands down, unequivocally, the most profitable and scalable business model online. And for people that are like actually want to help, it's the most fulfilling and rewarding. But there's certain laws and principles, rather, that we have to work from. One of them is what I call the principle of authority, the law of preeminence. And it's this very simple concept that when I say this, you'll be like, oh yeah, that's true. And that's how you know it's a principle, when you like can't disagree with it. And it's this principle that people only buy coaching, content, and information from someone that their brain has already decided they're the expert. Okay. So I want people to consider that for a moment, because there's a lot of people that are not demonstrating their expertise in their business. Instead, they're going, who am I to be doing this? Da, 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 da. But then when you talk about this like opportunity seeker thing, like this get rich quick thing, if you just like started yesterday and you know, just like, you know, some quick cash grab, nothing about that communicates and conveys your expertise and authority. And that's what's really interesting about this. It just kind of brings it full circle to our first little conversation a moment ago, is the staying power. There's a lot of people that see me as the expert I am, not because I'm showing up and showing off. I'm not trying to do that. They just see that I've been doing this for 14 years. And there's a consistent success and results that speak for themselves and growth. And I'm not saying it takes 14 years by any means. I've been seeing results for a very long time. But I figured that out a long time ago. As I said, if I want people to listen to me because I want to help people, but you can't help people if they don't listen to you, then they need to see that I know what I'm talking about. And one way that they see what I'm talking about is that they see that I'm in this for the long haul. That I'm not just, most people are doing what I call conditional living or conditional commitment. And they go, well, I'll try this. Okay, Melanie, I'll try it and we'll see if it works. I can already bet money against you're going to fail. I'll bet money against you if that's your mentality. Well, we'll see if this works. Wow. That's so inspiring. You should do a TED Talk on that. You know, I know I'm a jerk, but that's because I'm, you know, fighting for people. And that's how a lot of people are doing. They're saying, if it works, I'll get committed or I'll keep going. It doesn't work that way. Life does not work that way. Every single thing that you want is on the other side of one thing, a decision. It's a decision to go all in. It's a decision to give it whatever it takes. It's a decision to make it happen at, you know, your highest ability, giving your 100% and not an ounce or drop less. And when I did that and I showed people like, I'm in it to win it, I'm here to stay, that changed a lot, you know, and that also demonstrated authority and expertise. So I can go down a rabbit hole of a lot of the mistakes that we are making, but we can chunk it into like two different mindsets, two different ways of thinking. The employee mindset versus the CEO or entrepreneur mindset. So a lot of people are approaching business from an employee mindset. And that's understandably so. We were raised to be employees. Everything in your upbringing, unless you were like an anomaly, but the vast majority of us, we were trained to think and act and be a good, hardworking, permission-seeking, compliment-craving employee. Do this, don't do that. Ask for permission. Raise your hand. Wait your turn. Here's the bell. Now you can do the next thing. If people are waiting for permission, right? And there's nothing wrong with, sometimes when I say this, people get all like upset and triggered. Well, we need employees. Of course we do. I want to be an employee. What's wrong with it? No one said there's anything about wrong with being an employee. But if you spent your whole life playing basketball and then today said, I'm going to start playing soccer, and you start dribbling the soccer ball or football with your hands, you're not going to get very far with this game. Two games, two completely different set of rules. And so you bring the rules and the thinking of employee world into the game of entrepreneurship, you've already sealed your fate. Here's an example of how this plays out. If you ask 99% of employees, what's your strategy for making more money? They say, work harder, work longer. How many entrepreneurs are doing that in their business? If I just work harder, work longer, I'll make more money. Mm-hmm. It's really weird. It's because it's very backwards, but we're so ingrained in that. You got to work harder. You got to work longer. No, you don't. That's nonsense. Here's what the successful entrepreneurs do when they want to make more money. I say it a few different ways. They ascend. They give themselves the promotion. They go higher on the scale. What does that mean? Well, if you were to, most people are running their business like a to-do list, right? They got a list of a million things they need to do. And they just kind of go whatever's easiest and right in front of them. And if you looked at this to-do list, you would recognize hopefully pretty quickly that not all of these to-dos are created equally. In other words, some of these have more value appropriated to the bottom line of the business than others. In other words, you can spend all day in customer support and it will not grow your business at all, right? You could spend all day working on your business cards, your logo, and your About Me page. It's not going to build your business. So when you understand that not all tasks and to-dos and activities are created equal, that some have more value to them, you want to grow, you want to make more money. It's simply a matter of moving yourself to spend more time on the tasks that add more value to the business, letting go and saying no to the rest. And this may be hard for people to understand, maybe too simplistic, I don't know, but that's what it takes, and that's the difference. And here's the kind of funny cosmic joke of that. What I've noticed, I mean, from where I struggled and started out and was flat broke to where I am today, and last year we were over $10 million a year, I continue to ascend to be in a higher role, higher value activities. And the funny cosmic joke is that it requires less time and energy from me. And so it gives credence to the phrase I've been saying for years, which is the less you do, the more you'll make. And people get really triggered by stuff like that. Like, oh my gosh, what are you saying? Be lazy? I said, no, I've never used that word. But have you ever considered that just working harder and working longer is a form of laziness? What are you talking about? It's lazy thinking. Oh, I'll just do it myself, or I won't leverage or think smarter. I'll just rely on brute strength and effort and willpower and an extra cup of coffee. Yeah, that's lazy thinking, folks. And if your competitive advantage, if your only value is your work ethic, then you don't really have anything that's a competitive advantage. Anybody can watch a motivational video on YouTube and drink an extra cup of coffee and work just as long as you. But not everyone can think like you and have problem solving, creativity, and innovation like you. And if you're not tapping into that, then you're just being the employee in your own darn business and then wondering why you're working so hard and so long and not growing it.
You've just given me an idea for a brand new tapping video to hardwire the new belief: the less I do, the more I make. So that's public accountability there.
No, that's really huge. And that's a big one. And I love if that's kind of challenging people's model of the world, because it should. You know, Einstein said the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Well, thinking the same thoughts, holding the same beliefs, yet wanting a completely different reality is definitely a definition of insanity as well. And we have to be willing to let go of the thoughts, the beliefs, and perspectives that do not serve the vision that you're committed to creating. And it's, you know, this is 14 years of testing, verifying, and being the factual evidence of this statement: the less you do, the more you'll make.
So talking of Einstein and beliefs, what would you say are the biggest, or what have you seen are the biggest limiting beliefs that keep entrepreneurs stuck?
Yeah, it always comes down to the beliefs about ourselves.
Yeah.
Sadly, the story we tell ourselves. For entrepreneurs in general, it's things like, I'm a failure, I'm not good enough, I don't have what it takes. And then for anyone who wants to be in the spotlight as a personal brand, I want to be that coach, I want to be that expert, I want to be that go-to person here, I want to be that thought leader, that influencer, whatever. There's beliefs around well, they get manifested in a question of, who am I to be doing this? Or why would anyone listen to me? Or there's already someone who's doing this, who's better. And those are the biggest dream killers right there. We've just talked ourselves out of our dreams before we've even started. And I had all those.
So how's this for a paradox? A few years ago, I started creating a little online course, and I called it the Entrepreneur's Emotional Toolbox. And it had a bunch of tapping videos on it around entrepreneurial beliefs, such as I'm not good enough, comparing yourself to others. And I even added things like, you know, overcoming fear of creating live video, visibility. Anyway, it just sat there in my little digital library, didn't do anything with it. And I've actually been breathing new life into it recently, because I thought, actually, it needs to come out. And and it's just a series of tapping videos for those beliefs. But it was my own limiting beliefs that was preventing me from launching the product. So
isn't that the way it works? Yeah, what is that all about? Yeah, this is what we all face, though. This is universal. There's no way around that.
Yeah. So,
you know, everyone's going to experience that in their own way, and that's wonderful. And it happens when it happens, and you just decide, I'm going to do it anyways. And the hack for this, if you will, the brain or belief hack for it is, when you begin to recognize all those questions and fears are obviously a byproduct of the ego, and they're actually very like self-centered, because all of those are about you. Who am I to do this? I need to be awesome and amazing, and I want to look good and be perfect, and I want everyone to love me, and da 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 da. And it's like, you know, drop the act a little bit. Like, yeah, we're all special, but you know, no one's like better than anybody else. So we're just equally different. And if you were to recognize that those are pretty selfish questions and beliefs that we are in, because it's all about self-serving the ego, what really changes the game is when it's outwardly focused. In other words, who are you hurting? Who do you end up hurting when you sit there and consume yourself and concern yourself with the notions of yourself? Who are you leaving behind because you're worried what they'll think of you? Who does not get to get helped today because you are more concerned about yourself? And if you moved your attention to the idea, the thought, the notion that there could be even just one person out there that could benefit from this, that maybe they're out there drowning, they're struggling, they're having a really bad time, and you could make a difference in their life, then why the heck would you not try and help them? And that's this is a very important thing, because you see a lot of people that have what you want. They have a following, they have compliments. Oh, you're so amazing, right? And a lot of people let that get to their head. They get a lot of self-importance. They get a lot of ego. They feel like they're better than. And what's the problem with that is that when you see that, you kind of believe it. And you feel like, oh, I have to be better than too. I have to be way up here. I have to be more special than everybody else. And I really make an intention in my life to be as humble as possible. Because I have 100,000 followers on Instagram, that doesn't make me different. That doesn't change me. That doesn't make me better than somebody else. People aren't following me for me. And people got to get that clear. People aren't following me for me. They're following me because they're really following some sort of value or perspective that they want, that will help them, that maybe comes through me, but that isn't me. And that allows me to stay grounded and humble. And we all need to do that too. It's a much more powerful place to work from, and to just consider that your attention shouldn't be on, I need to be special, better than, super important, and blah, 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 up here on a, anytime you go to some sort of like in your mind, there's like a hierarchy or a pecking order, that's all fabrication of the ego. Oh, this person's better at me because they've been doing it longer. Better than you. What scale are you just creating in your head? Like, where is this coming from? What are you talking about? And instead going like, I have something that could help somebody. Maybe I could help someone today. Who can I help? How can I help? How can I be of service? And so when it's coming from the energy of service, it's not about you. This is why I always see this really fascinating, but I've always seen people that really struggle in building a personal brand business. And then I've seen that same person like go out and build a nonprofit and like explode it. Well, what's going on there? Well, it's like, oh, it wasn't about you. It was a being of service. And it's like, it's no different here. It really isn't any different. If you make it about, I have something that can make a difference for someone's life, then you get out of your own darn way and you just do it. And that really is a very powerful place. I'm not doing this for attention. I don't do it for money. I've made the same modest salary for several years, even when we went from, $1 million to 2 to 3 to 10. And, but with more money, I can create more impact. I can hire more people to reach more people, invest in more tools and advertising and better quality content and production and all that type of stuff. It just allows me to do what I do at a higher level with more power and more effectiveness. And that's, really important way to look at things.
Yeah. So for the past, 15 months or so, so many businesses have taken, their offline businesses online, and it's been like an online, new
gold rush.
Yeah, absolutely. And I kind of feel like, oh, that's interesting. I started this, 5 years ago, and, people who have, traditional businesses have been asking me, so how, what's this online business thing that you do? And so what kind of industries have you seen that are suddenly taking this leap into the online world?
Yeah, we're calling them COVID businesses. These businesses that got created out of the struggles and challenges that COVID and quarantining and lockdowns brought. And, I'm a very different, divergent thinking in a lot of ways, because I'm already of the ilk that pain is a blessing for all of us, It forces us to pay attention, to grow. And so, there's a lot of heartache and tragedy that came out of the last year, but it's easy to lose sight of all the good that came out of last year for so many people. One example is Natalia Stramboli. She's a student that joined my program last year, and she had a yoga studio in LA, shut down right in the beginning of March, I believe it was. And her whole business was gone overnight, just like that. And she's also someone who's very positive. Like when you get to know her, she's like very open-minded, very positive, more of that ilk of like anything's possible, whatever it takes. That's important. You need that. And she started teaching Zoom classes to her existing yoga students. She's like, well, hey, I'm going to help them any way I can. And she was like, wow, that was really fun. I really enjoyed that. And then of course, entrepreneurs, we get these little seeds,
yeah,
it just kind of like gets planted. And it's like, you either delicately care to these seeds and let them grow, or we rip them out and say, stupid, what was I thinking, right? And she had this
or
seed
you let other people around you stamp on that seed.
Exactly. And so I'm really good at that today. Like I won't let anyone touch my ideas. You can't hurt my ideas. I know how to protect them and let them grow and become a whole tree that bears fruit. But she had the seed of a thought, of an idea. that was, well, if my local students are getting value out of this, what if I could just, sky's the limit. What if I could just teach this all over the world? And she created her first online course called Yogi Flight School Academy. And it was brilliant. She niched down like you wouldn't believe and taught an online course of how to do any type of inversions, handstands, all the like tricky poses that have you kind of flying in yoga. She's made $250,000 in her first year. She just hit 1 year of doing this, and $250,000. Now I interviewed her and I asked her, I guess a silly question because she laughed at me. I said, so you've been running this yoga studio in person for a while, and now you have 1 year with the digital business. Like, did the online business make more money than the, she just starts laughing. And I'm like, and was it more profitable? And she's just laughing more. She's like, James, the reality is even with a successful studio on the outside, like full classes, I was barely breaking even. Wow. There's so many expenses, from the studio to the other instructors, to employees at the front desk, to the software, to the bookkeeping, to the liabilities and insurance that we needed, to then the advertising of it on top of all that stuff, that I was chained to my studio. I was chained to my business, and it wasn't even that profitable. And she's doing this whole interview from Costa Rica.
Fabulous.
And that was just the coolest thing, is she just like got up and left, and she's like, I just want to go to Costa Rica. And she's building her business digitally from where she wants. And that she's not alone in this. Hallie Bulkin, I believe she either does photography or teaches photography to photographers. If I say that right, I can confirm that. But she was already a student of mine. But a lot of people do kind of what you were talking about, which is like they have the idea, and hey, maybe I'm totally wrong about her niche. I got to confirm that. For some reason, I'm going to confirm that, but she was doing our stuff, but she wasn't pulling trigger on the online stuff. So I know she had a brick and mortar, and it had to get shut down because of COVID as well. So she started the online version of her services this time last year. She went to $1 million in 9 months.
Oh, wow.
Online. Like, it's nuts to me. It's so crazy. So the past year is like, it was necessity for a lot of people. They were forced into it. And there were people that said, okay, I'm going to do it. And you don't need to wait in life until those type of moments approach. And you might be waiting a long time, because you and I have been doing this for a long time. That's why we kind of found it silly. It's like people did it because it became a must for them. I have no choice. But you don't have to wait for that. And we're in this interesting time now where there's still a lot of uncertainty. There's also a lot of like people that are like, well, I can do it virtually, and I'm already working in my job virtually from home, and everything's fine and all that type of stuff. And I just see the world is ripe for this opportunity. People are paying attention more online. They're going to the internet more. They're looking for their own personal growth in many different ways. They're looking to start businesses. And I think we are right in the thick of the biggest opportunity. More people are coming to the internet to look, to learn, to grow, to be coached, to see opportunities. And this is it right now. Yeah. And I've been doing this for 14 years, and I've never seen more opportunity than right now. And that's very exciting. For those that take advantage of it, there will be people that are still too afraid. And, then those opportunities pass you by. And that's okay. There'll be more, but I look at it like this. It's like, I was drawn to teaching and coaching. I just loved it. And I was really like, man, it really doesn't matter what I teach or coach on. I just want to make a difference helping people. I just love it. I just love helping people. Like I do. It's really fun for me. And I can't explain why, and that I don't need to explain why. I just love doing it. It's a great.
It becomes
experience.
A calling, doesn't it?
It is. It's a calling, and you don't even understand. The calling isn't in your head, so you can't guys, rationalize it at all. It's just like, I just know it. It's just a knowing, and that's powerful. It's deeper. And if that's it for you, it's like, why would you deny yourself this opportunity any further?
Right, so you're going deep diving into some training, which starts on the 17th of June. I've got it written down here on a piece of paper. Now, when I first stumbled across you, literally 5 years ago,
on a Facebook ad.
It was actually a friend said, "Oh, you might want to check this guy out."
Oh, really?
And yeah. And I was like, okay. But then as soon as I watched the first training, because back then it was a 3-part video series, it was before the whole BizFlix thing, and I watched the first one, and it was like, I don't care how much this program costs, I'm in. I was in from watching the first 10 minutes. And I remember on car open day, I was in south of France. I had a really bad connection on my phone, and I didn't know if the purchase had gone through. And anyway, so I knew immediately that here's for me. I need to buy this program. But so I don't even remember what was in that training now. So what's in the training this year? How's it changing? Because it's a bit different this year, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it's always evolving, and changing. But the simple version is I want everyone, they're going to, when you join us and you're live, you can catch the replays too. You're going to walk away at the end of this, and you're going to have a complete blueprint for how to start, how to grow, how to scale a digital product-based business. It doesn't matter if you want to do a membership, an online course, you want to do one-on-one, it doesn't matter. Okay, we give you the plan for the whole enchilada, as they say. And I walk you through, basically it's like, here's how I did it. We built a $10 million a year business now. Here's how I did it. Here's the things you probably don't even see, because a lot of the things, if you're watching someone else do things, like if you're watching Melanie, a lot of the things that she's doing is beneath the surface of the iceberg. So how are you supposed to model or replicate things that you can't see? You can't. So we love to just pull that curtain back and show you step by step. I believe too, that what you'll notice on the other side of this training is that there's a personal transformation that takes place too.
Always is when you work with James.
Whether you like it or not. And that's because I just keep looking back at my growth, and so much of it was a change from within first. And so I just always love to offer that to people as an opportunity for us to grow in more ways than one. And that's what I'm really passionate and driven by, is growth that begins from the inside out. So that's a simple version of it. There's basically 5 core elements that your business needs. We're going to be breaking down those elements. I'm going to be walking you through how to really nail your irresistible offer, what it is that you're going to be selling, and giving you that strategy for doing that. Yeah, our training rivals paid courses. There's a lot of people that say this was better than like that $1,000, $2,000 course I went through. And I'm like, I know, because I bring it. And I have a lot to share because I've been doing this a really long time, and we do things very different. So it does come with like a disclaimer, a word of warning that everything I teach is very counterintuitive. So it tends to fly in the face of a lot of your pre-existing beliefs of how you think it's done. But that's because most people are approaching their own business and training from the employee mindset, like I said, and also a consumer mindset. And so it will sound a lot of things like, that doesn't make sense, or that's not how I would do it, or that's so counterintuitive. And it's like, yeah, exactly. And so it does require an open mind and an open heart. A lot of people come with a full cup, and then they want you to put more in it. It's like, that guy, there's no room to add more to your cup when you already know it all. Mm-hmm. And so it would behoove you to drain the cup and just be willing to try something on a little different during our time together.
Yeah.
Rise of the Digital CEO. That's the name.
And so it starts next Thursday, June the 17th. All the links are, depending on where you're watching this, in the comments, in the description. You'll find the link on this post. And yeah, I can't wait to watch it. It's going to be great. And I think for a lot of people, a lot of my followers have been following you for some time, and I think this, you know, this could be the year. So yeah, so thank you so much for your time.
This is it.
Exactly. Yes, it is it. It's no time, you know, now is the time.
It's all we have.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you so much for your time, James. It's fabulous as always. And
thank you.
Same again next year.
Yeah. Thanks, Melanie. Thanks everyone for listening.
Thank you so much. Let's stop this.